if I hired someone to kill her? Advantage, I could be 1,000 miles away when she dies. Disadvantage, I'd be trading one albatross for another. Exit wife, enter hitman. Hey, Mr. Jameson, I'm gonna need more money. We just found out our youngest son is hypoglycemic and we're not on Blue Cross. So unless you want me to go to the police, no. Has to be done without an accomplice. What if she died in a fire? After she goes to sleep, I could rig something with a burning candle near her bed. How long would it take to burn down? Half an hour? I could surround it with some crumpled newspapers. Your Honor, I begged my wife not to smoke in bed, but she wouldn't listen. The night of the fire, I left the house to get a paper. I stopped by a newsstand a few blocks away, and old Harry, well, he's the vendor. Poor fella's blind since birth, but he doesn't seem to bother him. Well, old Harry and I, we struck up a conversation. We must have talked for over an hour. Then we heard the sirens. Advantage, I'd have an alibi. Disadvantage, she doesn't smoke. Your Honor, do you think the jury would believe that my wife took up cigarettes on the day of her death? No. Hardly. Scratch the fire. What if...
Arthur,
In here.
you got in early.
Oh, the plane was ahead of schedule. A first for American aviation. You've changed your hair.
I had it cut. It's a little windblown. I was walking in the park.
Looks good. I missed you. No kiss? Bad sign. You were going to think things over while I was away.
Still in the process.
I'd take some comfort in that if the walls weren't a different color. The corpse isn't even cold, and you've had the painters in. Without a significant point, Your Honor, consulting me.
It was time for a change. If it's any consolation, I got a good price.
I'll keep that in mind if I have to move out. Do I have to move out?
Don't press me, Arthur.
Of course not. It's an important decision. Take your time. I see that's eye is healed.
Yes.
I'm very sorry about that. Really, I did miss you. Why don't we go upstairs?
No.
Are you sure?
Arthur, you eliminated that part of our relationship a long time ago. Why are you suddenly trying to resurrect it?
Do I have to have an ulterior motive?
Always. I'd like a drink. Will you get me something? Maybe some wine. How is Houston?
Pretty much as expected. 2 weeks of bourbon, barbecue, and boredom.
Are you going to take the case?
I don't know. It's a complicated offense, and I'm not impressed with the home team, particularly since I was their second choice.
Oh.
They wanted F. Lee Bailey, but he insisted on the book rights. Although I must say, they treated me with suitable reverence. They even gave me a monogram Stetson.
Oh, I hope you didn't bring it back with you.
Of course not. I was careful to lose it at the airport. Anyway, here's to my would-be client in Texas who shot his wife in front of Macy's at high noon. Considering the fee that I'll be involved, I guess I'll have to defend him, won't I?
Why are you asking me?
Because at the moment you have a consuming interest in my cash flow. Oh, which reminds me. I stopped by the office on my way in from JFK. I picked these up, complete financial records, including bank books.
I'm not an accountant.
Then hire one. He'll confirm everything I've said.
I find it difficult to believe that you can't come up with a settlement.
I can, but not now.
Well, what happened to those shopping centers and all that natural gas?
The shopping center, singular, not plural, has right-of-way problems, and the gas wells are long-term payoffs. You'll get your money, you just have to wait for it.
Why do I get the impression that you're stalling me?
Darling, when you blackmail someone, first check to make sure he's liquid.
This isn't blackmail.
Oh, did I say blackmail? Oh, I'm sorry. Slipped the tongue.
All I want is reasonable maintenance.
And this place, and the beach house.
I'm accustomed to a certain way of life. That's the one thing you've given me. I want it to continue.
And in a few years, if you decide to run off with a young man in a Calvin Klein suit, what then? Will you come back and gouge me for more?
No.
Do I have your word on that? A woman who spent the past 6 months listening in on my phone calls, checking my mail, and dropping by the office to read what was on my desk?
That was necessary.
Why, you knew I'd give you a divorce.
Oh, no question. But what kind of divorce? You've seen to it that nothing is in my name, not even the car. I needed protection.
So you rooted around and dredged up some old rumors.
Rumors? Oh, tell me something, Arthur. What's the penalty for misappropriation of a client's trust fund? Why, that's grand theft, isn't it? Or the passing of information to a juror.
Whatever you have or think you have is nothing but conjecture. No documentation and no hard evidence of malfeasance. If you went to the district attorney or the state bar,
they'd be more than interested in what I have to tell them. Remember, Arthur, you're not exactly popular in legal circles.
I take that as a compliment.
All I'd have to do is call them up and make an appointment. They'd even buy me lunch. But why don't we change the subject? The last time we had this conversation, you hit me.
This time, I'll get you some more wine. You see? Change for the better. Can you handle some praise?
No, I'm not used to it, but I can try.
You may have jumped to the wrong conclusion, but I'm very impressed by all this new initiative. You weren't like that when I married you.
No, I was much more pliable.
It had its appeal.
Oh, I'm sure it did. Who else would work to pay your bills and forget about having children because they'd only get in your way? And then, of course, there was the fact that I was the judge's daughter.
Traffic court judge.
At the time, you didn't make those distinctions. A judge was a judge. You assumed he'd have connections.
Incorrectly, as it turned out.
Anyway, I'm not as pliable. After all this time, some of you has rubbed off.
Good reason to stay together.
Oh, what's the matter, Arthur? Will a divorce inconvenience you? All those women out there, and no more Louise to use as an excuse for ending the relationships.
Is that why you're doing this? Real or imagined other women?
I'm doing this because I finally can, on my own terms.
I see we've dropped the fiction that you're thinking things over. Or am I misrepresenting?
I'd like some ice in this. It's a bit warm.
Is that your answer to my question?
You don't ask questions, Arthur. You make statements.
Yes, and you've developed a gift for changing the subject.
I think we've exhausted it for the moment, don't you?
Oh, whatever you say. Oh, I'm afraid we're all out. I'll get some.
Oh, no. Allow me. I need to start learning to do things for myself.
Hello? Speaking. Keith? I'm sorry, I don't know anybody by that name. Oh, from Columbia. Yes, I think I remember you. My seminar on child advocacy, isn't it? What can I do for you, Mr. Keith? No, she hasn't had a chance to tell me. I just got home from a trip. I see. That's very flattering. How long a speech did you have in mind? Good. Words of wisdom should be short enough to be stitched on samplers. And when is this dinner? Well, it's very tempting, Mr. Keith. You're a very persuasive young man. If I'm in town on the 15th, I'll certainly consider it. Why don't you call me back in a day or two after I check my schedule? Fine. No bother at all. And please thank everyone for thinking of me. What if I go to that dinner? What if something happens to her while I'm there? Something terminal. And if she's alone, if someone breaks in, I don't have an accomplice, then how? Wait a minute. Of course, the timing is critical, but there's a way to work it. Advantage, alibi. Lovely word. From the Latin meaning elsewhere. Lovely. Disadvantage. Disadvantage. Well, Mr. Keith, in the absence of any major disadvantages, I think I may accept your invitation. So nice and so helpful of you to ask. so well this evening, but I'm afraid I'm not going to earn my dinner. There's nothing I can tell you about the legal profession that you don't already know after 3 years of law school, except, of course, you have the right father or the right wife. I suppose I should inspire you with the usual quotes from Blackstone and Justice Holmes, but instead, let's take our text from two rather subversive proverbs. The first defines the law as a net to catch a fly, and let the hawk go free. The second, not very flattering, addresses itself to us.
Arthur!
A lawyer is someone skilled in circumventing the law. Sorry, I thought I got a laugh there, but I wasn't sure.
What on earth?
Oh, it's a recording of my talk tonight. One of the students slipped me a cassette, obviously currying favor. Oh, there's a hair trigger on that, by the way, so unless you want to shoot me, I keep it pointed at the floor.
You almost gave me a heart attack. I thought we were being robbed.
Wrong term, darling. Not robbed, burgled. Robbery involves the threat of force or violence.
What are you doing home so early? I thought you'd be out till after midnight.
As a matter of fact, you're looking at a mirage. I'm not really here.
What?
There was an interesting case last year in Mississippi where the entire defense rested on the worst alibi I've ever heard. A man went to a country club dance, ducked out, murdered his business partner across town, and then went back to the dance again. And the amazing thing was, no one noticed he was gone, not even his wife. They all swore he never left the party. Well, he was acquitted, and later he told his attorney, oh, it was Ted Meredith. You remember Ted? He always said you had beautiful hair. He told Ted he was awake for 2 hours. Isn't that incredible? If people see you in a given place and then see you again later, they simply assume you've never left, and they'll swear to it under oath.
Arthur, what are you talking about? You're not making any sense.
Aren't I? I thought I was.
Oh, Lord!
Problem?
I just called the police. I better get them back before they... What's this?
Clear evidence of a crime. Not quite enough at the moment. Needs some embellishment. Don't touch that.
Why not?
Because it's a Jimmy, and your fingerprints don't need to be on it.
What?
Let me see now. Oh, he'd start with the tapestry.
Arthur, what are you doing? Arthur, have you lost your mind? That's our good silver, Arthur. Arthur, that's my mother's silver. Arthur? Arthur, stop it!
Well, what do you think? Convincing?
What in heaven's name?
I know. I owe you an explanation. What's presumed to have happened here tonight, somebody broke in. The door's been jimmied and started taking our takeables. You heard the noise and called the police. I believe your phrase was, somebody's in the living room, a prowler.
How did you know that?
The noise continued, so you took the gun from our nightstand drawer. Foolishly, you came downstairs to investigate. The thief saw you, panicked, and there was a struggle. Then, unfortunately,
Arthur!
he shot you.
For God's sake!
All right. The gun has a rubberized grip. It won't take legible prints, so that's covered. My glass, I could have drunk that before I went out. Might be a good idea to tear her negligee. It might make the struggle more credible. Obviously, I'll have to accelerate everything. The police take an average of 14 minutes to respond to a 1040, and it's been much too long. I'll have to cut it in half. Anything else? Oh, Christ. But he was there, Your Honor. He left a cassette recording behind that was given to him at the dinner. How could a cassette be in the tape deck unless he was physically present at the scene of the crime? Oh, idiot. And the only thing is to make sure no one sees me leave. And that should be that. Your witness, Mr. Prosecutor. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
State your name and occupation for the record, please.
My name is Arthur Jameson. I practice law.
Mr. Jameson, come now, you hardly do yourself justice. Aren't you one of the most prominent criminal attorneys in the state, if not the country?
Guilty?
I beg your pardon?
You make it difficult to be modest, Counselor. Since I'm under oath, I'm simply agreeing with you.
I see. Well, would you be good enough to tell the jury of the events of the night of June 15th?
Certainly. I've been invited to speak to a group of graduating Columbia Law School students. In my spare time, I teach several courses there. Each June, they have something of a celebration. They throw a dinner, invite 3 of their teachers.
But not their wives.
Nope, it's all male. A clear violation of Title II and the 14th Amendment.
And did you go to this dinner?
I did.
And where was it held?
The students took a small banquet room at the Hotel Pierre.
And how was your wife when you left her?
I'm not sure I understand. Are you asking about her mood or character?
Referring to her physical state, of course.
Then I suggest you say so. The function of the advocate is to clarify, not obscure.
Mr. Jameson, I would appreciate a less patronizing attitude.
And I would appreciate, with all due respect, questions of a more pertinent nature.
Thank you, sir, for your lecture on the art of cross-examination. I'll try to do better. Now as for your wife.
As for my wife, in answer to the question I think you're asking, her physical state was one of being alive. When I left her, she was having something to eat in the kitchen. If you care to know the menu.
That won't be necessary. Please go on.
I walked to the hotel, and we all sat to dinner at 8. At 10, I made some brief remarks, and I was followed by the other 2 guests.
And who were they?
Professor Louis Haig and Cy Dietrich. Both of them teach at Columbia.
And when did the evening end? I hate to keep harping on the time.
Perfectly understandable. I'd say 11 o'clock. And some of us went into the hotel bar for a nightcap. Professor Haig and I shared a cab, and he dropped me off.
And what did you find when you arrived home?
The police.
According to testimony, your wife called them at 10:30. She reported a prowler in the house. When they arrived on the scene, they found that she had been, well, forgive me, I know this is difficult for you. They found that she had been shot and killed.
Yes.
Now, they tried to reach you, but they didn't know where you were. Now, according to their reports, you arrived home at
12:06.
12:06, that's right. Thank you, sir. My, you're a precise man. Most people would have said around midnight.
You don't have most people on the stand, Counselor. You have me.
I'm very aware of that. In any event, when the police told you what had happened, you reacted with shock and outrage.
I wanted to find the man responsible and kill him.
I'm sure we all envy you. I'm sure we're all very, very understanding of your relationship. Now, you must have loved your wife very much.
Yes, I did.
That's why I'm puzzled. That in the weeks before her death, she told a number of her friends that she wanted a divorce. And she also said that she had assured herself of an enormous settlement. Now, what does that suggest to you?
It suggests to me that we had one of our rare fights and she overreacted.
Mr. Jameson, this enormous settlement. Now, our examination of your financial records indicates that you had sole title to most of your possessions, including your townhouse and a summer place in the Hamptons. Now, why would she assume that she'd get anything at all but normal maintenance? Unless...
Well, that's what?
Well, unless, just as an example, she had reason to believe she had certain leverage.
Objection, Your Honor. Clearly immaterial.
Mr. Jameson, isn't it true that The bar associations in 3 states have questioned the conduct of some of your recent cases, and there have been rumors of sharp practices.
Objection, strike that from the record. I cite the prosecutor for sharp practices of his own.
Mr. Jameson, if these rumors of your professional integrity were true, and your wife was somehow in possession of damaging information...
The objection has been sustained, Counselor.
So it has. Withdraw the question.
As it happens, my wife was a financial innocent. I can't be responsible for what she tells her friends in a moment of uncharacteristic anger.
Well, then you insist that you were happily married.
Since it's the truth, why shouldn't I?
With the court's permission, I'd like to show you what's been previously marked as People's Exhibit number 1. You care to take a look at this and tell us if it's an accurate rendering?
Seems so. Since I lack an architect's degree, I can't vouch for the dimensions.
Well, the dimensions are not what interests me, sir. What is this room here on the 3rd floor?
That's a master bedroom.
And this room down the hall?
It's a guest room.
Guest room. Mr. Jameson, according to the police, this guest room contained all of your wife's clothing and all of her makeup. Her toothbrush was in the adjoining bathroom and her slippers were under the bed. Now, I shall introduce testimony from your housekeeper that your wife used what you choose to call the guest room as her own room. And she had done so for some time.
The point is irrelevant, so I'll concede it.
Well, thank you. Now, please tell the jury how many months in the past year you've been absent from home in the conduct of your
I
practice.
can't say offhand, a few.
A few! Mr. Jameson, you keep a murderous schedule. You were chief defense counsel in a case in California. You defended cases in Nevada and
I
Pennsylvania.
was away from home 7 or 8 months. Hardly an indictable offense.
No, but nevertheless curious. There seems to be a great disparity between your view of a happy marriage and the norm. You and your wife did not share the same bed. You were away from each other for excessive periods of time.
Excessive is a relative term, so is normal. Counsel is attempting to find me guilty of an atypical marriage, then he has succeeded. But in spite of being away from each other in our separate rooms, we had a deep and rewarding relationship.
Oh, again, Mr. Jameson, I'm sure we all envy you. By the way, and no doubt off the subject, shortly before your wife's death, she was seen to have a bruise. Actually, more like a cut, high on her left cheek, near her left eye. The eye itself was blackened. Now, do you have any idea how this happened?
I do. We went out to dinner, and I'm afraid both of us had too much to drink. When we came home, she stumbled in her bathroom and cut herself on the corner of a cabinet.
Oh, an accident then.
That's correct, an accident.
Are you right-handed or left-handed, Mr.
That's
Jameson?
quite a nonsense.
Answer the question.
I'm right-handed.
All right, well, if I was right-handed and I were to strike someone, with the court's permission, and this by way of a demonstration for the jury, I would raise my hand up thusly and I would strike the person I was facing on the left cheek. Now I see you wear no rings on your right hand.
No.
But you did. The skin at the base of your ring finger is whiter than the rest of your hand.
And from that you conclude what? Are you actually suggesting that I hit my wife?
Oh, I leave it to the jury to form conclusions, sir.
Louise gave me this ring as a gift. I removed it because it stirred too many painful memories. Does that satisfy you?
Oh, yes, sir, it does. Although we might wonder why you're still wearing your wedding ring. Not that we aren't all inconsistent every now
Counselor,
and then.
before you embarrass yourself, may I remind you that at the time of my wife's death, I was at a dinner surrounded by dozens of witnesses.
Oh, and while you were there, she was killed by a thief.
Exactly.
What kind of thief, Mr. Jameson? Do you think it was a junkie?
Perhaps.
Oh, some poor, desperate creature just seeking money for a fix.
It's possible. There have been drug-related crimes in the neighborhood. That's why we kept a gun.
It's an odd kind of junkie, though, don't you think?
Why do you say that?
Because he had to have a car. How else is he going to haul away all of your valuables, much less your television set, and then this idea of a strung-out junkie driving all over town in an automobile? Well, it's slightly unusual, don't you think?
Not a bit of a junkie. I understand he left a burglar's tool behind, so perhaps it was a professional.
Oh, that would make more sense. A professional would know where to fence stolen goods.
He'd also drive a car.
Oh, yeah. Well, why would a professional break into your home while your wife was on the premises. Now that's not very intelligent
Well,
of
if he
him.
was intelligent, he wouldn't be committing that kind of crime.
You mean any kind of crime, don't you, Mr. Jameson? Just a few more questions, Your Honor. Mr. Jameson, let's return to this dinner on the night of your wife's death. Now, you were there all evening.
Yes.
You never left the room.
That's correct.
I don't mean to contradict you, sir. But we have testimony that you excused yourself from the dais right after your talk.
Call of nature, Counselor. I was drinking a great deal of water
Oh, well, why was that?
because they served a very bad California wine. That's not redundant.
So conveniently, you went to the hotel restroom.
Yes.
How long were you there?
No more than 5 or 6 minutes.
And did you return to the dais?
No, I didn't want to interrupt Professor Haig's speech. I stood in the back of the room.
Where no one saw you.
I don't know if anybody saw me or not. This guests were listening to the speakers, so I doubt it. However, I was there.
But you can't prove
No,
that.
nor can you prove otherwise. I can give you a rundown of Professor Haig's speech if you like. I couldn't have heard it if I was somewhere else.
But you just told us. The professor dropped you off. Now, isn't it possible he could have just recapitulated his remarks under a friendly little probing from you?
Possible yes, probable no.
You can always subpoena him if necessary and find out, sir. But you know what? Let's just talk about your speech for a moment. According to your testimony, you gave your, and I quote, brief remarks at 10. Now, your wife called the police at 10:30. Now, what was to prevent you from going home instead of the restroom?
Why would I do that, Counselor? To avoid tipping the attendant?
Hotel is no more than 10 blocks from your house, a walk of perhaps 15 minutes.
You seem to be an encyclopedia of extraneous information.
Oh, I wouldn't dare be extraneous, sir, not after your lecture on pertinence. So let us assume, just for a moment, that you did leave the hotel.
That's a dangerous assumption.
Dangerous? Huh. Dangerous for whom, Mr. Jameson? Your wife?
Objection!
15 minutes to walk to your house, 10 minutes to do what had to be done.
Objection!
15 back to the hotel. You would have been gone at most no more than 45 minutes.
Your Honor, this is flagrant grandstanding. The prosecutor is not only violating every rule of courtroom procedure, but in essence, he's accusing me of nothing more serious than the crime of convenient geography. Am I to be held responsible for the proximity of a hotel to my home?
Yes, sir, you are. A young man named Bill Keith. Remember him? The banquet manager. He is prepared to testify that you suggested a location for the hotel. He'll also tell us that your acceptance was conditional on the availability of nearby accommodations. And he will finally tell us that you asked to be the first speaker.
Not very clever of me.
No.
Unfortunately, when arrangements are made, other people can be aware of them.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the elements of a crime are means, motive, and opportunity. And when you consider Arthur Jameson in this light, you'll see he had the means. A fraudulent burglary that never took place. He had a motive. His wife wanted a divorce and was demanding a large financial settlement. And he had the opportunity, a dinner nearby his house that was intended to serve as an alibi. But it's a phantom alibi, ladies and gentlemen, and this burglary, it outrages logic in every way. Now here's a terrified woman who calls the police, reports an intruder. Now, does she go into her room, lock the door, and wait for the police to arrive? No! Instead, she makes the decision, the totally irrational decision, to go downstairs and confront the thief. Irrational. Unless there was no thief, unless she knew the intruder, unless she was lured by a familiar voice.
All right, it won't work. I'll have to do it another way.
Absolutely.
plug some of the holes, kill her upstairs in the bedroom, but the alibi
The alibi is so weak.
can't be in two places at the same time, can I? The illusion won't hold.
Unacceptable risk. You're gonna need to find something better.
Reasonably soon.
Would you like some
Huh?
ice for your drink?
No, I'm fine.
Who were you talking to just
Talking?
Just now when I came in. I thought I heard you saying something.
Probably just thinking out loud. Occupational disease. I was working on a case.
The one in Texas?
No, another case entirely. A much more important one. I was trying out another prosecutor.
You still do that?
All the time. My one carryover from law school. Hold the trial in advance, create opposing counsel, and see if you can beat him.
Did you?
Did it what?
Did you beat him?
No. I usually come up with a folksy type. Red suspenders and a cheek full of cut plug. This time I handed myself a real son of a bitch. I didn't do my homework and he wiped me out. But we'll have a rematch. You expecting someone?
No. I'll get it.
Hello, Japanese Gardens? This is Mr. Jameson. Oh, just fine, thank you. I'd like a corner table for 2 at 7:30 this evening. Thank you.
It's perfectly all right. No problem at all.
I really appreciate this. I just feel so silly. Would you believe I bought these yesterday and now the strap breaks? God, you think you pay $38.50?
Oh, this is my husband, Arthur. This is Miss Willis.
How do you do? And it's Jackie. I am so sorry to barge in on you like
Miss
this.
Willis has a problem.
So it seems.
Oh, not my sandal. It's your neighbors. Do you mind if I sit down? I feel kind of foolish standing here on one foot.
If you'd be more comfortable.
Well, maybe I shouldn't. I'm only going to be here a minute.
You said something about our neighbors.
The Starks.
The Starks are in Europe.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, maybe I should just take the other one off too. Is that all right?
Of course.
You wouldn't happen to have a key to their front door, would you?
I beg your pardon.
Oh, no. I don't want to rob them or anything. Vivian, Mrs. Stark. She's a friend of mine. Oh, I'm just doing her a favor.
I'm not sure I understand.
I'm supposed to water the plants. I mean, I don't do it professionally or anything, but I told Vivian I'd come by at least once a week and help out. She's got lots of ferns and things and all these cute little Japanese shrubs. Trouble is, I can't get in.
Well, didn't they leave you a key?
That's the problem. I lost it. I know I had it this morning. I took it down from the bulletin board. I keep it tacked to the bulletin board in my kitchen. I thought I put it in my purse, but when I got to the front door, it was missing. That's why I came over here. I thought maybe the Starks left you an extra key.
Well, no, I'm afraid they didn't. We don't know them all that well. Have you tried their other neighbors?
I rang the bell, but nobody answered.
I'm sorry. I wish we could help you.
Well, I tried. Thanks anyway. Guess it's just not my day.
Don't the Starks have a daughter?
I don't know, do they?
I seem to remember Bill Stark giving me her number in case of an emergency. She might have a key.
Oh, does she live here in town?
Somewhere in the village. Louise, see if the number's in my address book, will you? It should be upstairs in the top bureau drawer. I'll get Miss Willis, isn't it? A drink.
I don't want to put you people to any more trouble.
Well, let's see if we have it.
Oh, I really appreciate this. I'd hate for the Starks to come home to a house full of dead plants. I know you're angry.
I should throw you out the window.
I was worried. I tried calling the hotel in Houston, but they wouldn't put me through.
I told you I'd be busy.
I thought something might have happened. I haven't heard from you in over a week, and you wouldn't let me meet you at your plane.
Don't you ever listen? I said I'd call when I got back. You must be out of your mind coming over here like this.
Sorry.
How the hell did you know about the Starks?
From you. Don't you remember? We were having drinks at that little place near your office. They walked in. You kind of hunched down in your chair. Anyway, You said they lived next door and that they were going to Europe. Well, I had to say something. I was hoping your wife wouldn't be home, but when she answered the door...
You weren't hoping she wouldn't be home. You wanted to see what she looked like. That's why you came over here.
That's not true. Honestly. Okay, sure, I'm curious about her. But the real reason is I was worried. I had a feeling. Well, I did.
Jackie, I was in Texas. In spite of what you may have heard, that's not a foreign country.
I know. Look, I promise I'll never do it again.
Jesus, watering plants.
I think she believed me, don't you?
All that about your sandal?
Oh no, that's for real. $38.50 and the damn strap breaks. Sometimes I'm just a mess, aren't I?
Arthur?
Yes.
I can't find your address book.
Try the front room by the telephone.
All right.
I guess you don't want me to stay for a drink?
Right. I don't want you to stay for a drink.
Well, are you coming over tonight?
Jackie, use your head. I just got home. Now I want you out of here before she comes
You know,
downstairs.
it's funny. I've tried to imagine what this place would look like. It's nice.
It's not nice. She just had it repainted.
Why would she do that?
A Declaration of Independence. She also cut her hair.
Well, if she wants to be independent, that's good for us, isn't it?
Come here.
What?
Show me.
What now?
Go on, hurry up. Not even close.
It's hard.
You were supposed to practice. It's been 2 weeks.
Is it better? Done some good ones.
Just keep at it. You know how important it is.
Well, I guess I should go. Will you call me?
Of course.
And you're not still angry?
No.
Where's Miss Willis?
Homeward bound, she suddenly remembered where she put the key and she went hopping away on one foot.
Oh, that's just as well. The number wasn't in your book.
No? Maybe at the office.
Strange sort of person to be a friend of Vi Stark's. Where was it, by the way?
Where was what?
The key.
She didn't say. Probably still on the famous bulletin board under the recipe for meatloaf. Is this all the mail?
Yes.
Any calls?
Just one of your students from Columbia. He wanted to invite you to their graduation dinner.
He just telephoned a few minutes ago. When he calls again, tell him I won't be able to make it.
Really? I thought you'd want to go.
So did I, but I changed my mind. It wouldn't be productive.
I'm gonna make myself some dinner. Have you eaten?
On the plane. Louise? Are you going to the beach house next weekend?
I might. Why?
I'm just wondering if we don't get much use out of the place.
We were in a more romantic frame of mind when we bought it.
What if it wasn't a murder? Nobody killed her at all, and she died because of some kind of accident.
Mr. Jameson, sir, I hate to intrude upon your recent bereavement.
Perfectly all right. It has to be done.
Thank you, sir. Now, will you please tell the jury about the events surrounding your wife's death?
I'll do my best, but as you know, I wasn't there when she died.
Oh, we understand. Now, why don't you just limit your testimony to your own activities?
My wife and I have a beach house at East Hampton. It's quite remote, and our nearest neighbor is some distance away. On the weekend in question, Louise was feeling depressed, so I suggested she take the car and stay at the house a few days.
And you stayed in the city, did you not?
I had a brief to write, and I knew I wouldn't be much company. I told her that if I finished, I would take the train on Sunday.
Take your time.
I never saw her alive again. That night, I'd say about 8, I got a call from the East Hampton police. They noticed our car at the foot of our driveway. It had crashed into a tree. When they went to investigate, they found...
Mr. Jameson, would you like us to take a recess?
No, let's get it over with. They found Louise's body on our driveway. She was the victim of a tragic accident.
Now, did the police describe the nature of this accident?
Yes, she'd gone shopping. She'd put the grocery bags in the trunk of her car. When she came home, she parked in front of the garage. Well, our driveway is on a rather steep incline.
And apparently, she put the gear in the park position and went around back to take out the bag.
Yes, somehow. I don't know how it happened. The gear must have slipped. She hadn't set the emergency brake, and so the car rolled backwards and knocked her down. And
According to the medical examiner's report, well, one of the wheels crushed her skull. The time of death was established at between 5 and 6. Now you were in New York at that time, were you not, sir?
Yes, later that evening, I made a few calls to Texas. I have a case pending there, and I spoke to several attorneys.
Now, what time was that?
New York time, 9:30 or 10.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jameson, for your cooperation here today. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness. He may step down.
But you wouldn't dismiss me that easily, would you?
Of course not.
Why?
I keep you on the stand.
Why?
You know why. Motive. You had plenty of reason for wanting her dead. And you don't have an alibi.
But she was in the Hamptons, and I was in New York making phone calls.
At 9:30. She died between 5 and 6. Now there's plenty of time for you to get back to the city.
How? She had the car.
Oh, the two of you drove there together. We only have your word that she went by herself and you took the train home.
I'd be recognized.
No, you wouldn't. That's unlikely. Your famous name. You took me on a famous page.
Well, what if I was watching television when she died, if I could describe the program?
Oh, that's a good idea. No, it's not. You own a video recorder. The prosecution will contend that you set the timer and you replayed the program later that night.
And the recorder was in the shop for repairs?
Oh, then I'd suggest the possibility that you purchased another one for cash, so there'd be no record of the sale, and then you just disposed of it later.
Why do I need an alibi? If they take her death at face value as an ordinary accident.
Ordinary? Huh. Tends to look a lot less ordinary, sir, when you consider your domestic situation. And then there's the fact that you struck her, which is a clear indication of your desire to do her bodily harm. It's all very, very prejudicial.
But hardly sufficient grounds for indictment, much less conviction. Smoke but no fire. They don't even have evidence of foul play.
Unless a good forensic pathologist discovers a blow on your wife's head that doesn't correspond with the tread marks on the tire. And there will be a blow showing you that. She'd have to be unconscious when you just backed your car up over her.
Circumstantial. Under the law, I don't have to be innocent, only not guilty.
Yeah, but you're not comfortable with it, are you?
No.
Too many risks.
Be better if I had an alibi.
Well, absolutely.
Same damn problem.
Same
Being
problem.
two places at once. Wait a minute.
What?
Suppose, for the sake of argument, she really did go to the Hamptons alone.
Well, that's easy enough to arrange.
Later that evening, I stay in New York, and later that evening, while I'm at a party or working with my staff, witnesses coming out of my ears, she dies.
She died? Well, how?
Accidental fall, concussion, broken neck, whatever.
Oh, whatever. Murder by remote control.
Why not? The beach house has a basement. There's a long, rickety flight of wooden stairs. Your Honor, it was a terrible tragedy, completely unexpected. Sometime during the night, Louise must have thought she heard a noise. She had the unfortunate habit of taking sleeping pills, so when she awoke, she was probably groggy. She went downstairs and decided to look in the basement. She was half asleep and half drugged. She obviously stumbled and fell.
I got to tell you, that is interesting. Now, who discovered the body?
I did. I took the train up the next morning, Your Honor. We were planning to spend a few days together. But when I got to the house, nobody seemed to be there. I saw the car in the garage, so somebody had to be home. I called Louise. Louise, darling! But then I looked into the open cellar door. Oh, God! Poor Louise was crumpled in a heap in front of the stairs.
Now, when had she died?
According to the medical examiner, later that evening, about 11 o'clock.
And you?
I was just finishing dinner with two of my younger associates. I'd taken them out because I worked them so late. Poor irony. Oh, there I was, drinking brandy while my wife, oh God. Any further questions?
No.
I didn't think so. They wouldn't even come to trial. There'd be a local inquest as a matter of form and a verdict of accidental death. Agreed?
Yeah, agreed. Assuming there aren't any discrepancies.
There wouldn't be. I go up the day before, of course, and loosen the top step. Damn thing's loose anyway. Or I might even remove it entirely. And I could unscrew the light bulb. It's an old trick, but effective.
Oh, and the next evening?
Well, she usually goes to bed about 10:30. Wherever I am, I call her on a payphone. Darling, I'm sorry to wake you, but I'm working late and I left some papers in that old file in the basement.
Oh, now that's not very convincing, sir.
Well, it doesn't have to be. Remember, she's coming out of a sound sleep. She goes downstairs.
Leaving the phone off the hook?
Hang up, darling, and I'll call you back in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
She goes downstairs and then opens the basement door. She tries the switch, but the light doesn't work. She knows there's a hanging bulb in the cellar, so she starts down in the darkness.
and fall.
And falls. The next day, I find the body and call the police. After I fix the steps, naturally, and screw the bulb back in.
Oh, leaving fingerprints.
Nothing wrong with that. It's my house.
Well, there's one problem, though.
I know.
The fall.
Might not kill her. It's a cement floor.
Even so, she might only injure herself. Now, that has no guarantee she's going to die. And when your wife discovers a loose step that you jimmied up and then realizes why you called her, oh, I don't like this one at all. No way.
There's got to be a way around that. What if...
Arthur, you're doing it again.
No compensation for not talking in my sleep. Any of it intelligible?
No, just mumbling. Still the same case.
It's a fixation, but I think I'm making progress.
I brought you some coffee.
Oh, thanks. What time is it, by the way? I don't remember if I reset this on the plane. Is Houston an hour earlier or 2?
It's 10 after 7.
Hell, I'll be late!
You're leaving?
A business dinner halfway across town.
Oh, but you haven't even unpacked yet.
I'll do it later.
Oh, at least have some coffee.
Sorry, no time. Don't wait up. I'm not sure when I'll be home.
That sounds familiar.
Better start encouraging me. I'm in business for the two of us now.
Will you do me a favor?
What is it?
Mail a letter for me on your way.
I told you I was late.
Yes, it won't take a minute. It's just upstairs.
It's me. I got held up, but I'm leaving now. Are you in a sushi mood? Good. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Love you too. Bye. Louise! Well, you have the letter? Louise? What the hell?
you. Really.
There are more conventional ways of arranging a conversation. Now, are you going to go?
Okay. I know I should have called, but I wasn't sure that you'd see me, so I figured if I just came over here that it's about Arthur.
How did you get in here?
Oh wow, is it night already? Oh, I must have been asleep for a few hours. Oh no! I sat on my cheese. I got kind of hungry, so I raided your refrigerator. This is really delicious, isn't it, Rosberg?
Miss,
Willis. Jackie Willis.
I asked how you got in here.
The painters.
The painters.
They were cleaning up when I rang the bell. They said you'd just gone out to dinner with some friends.
You mean they actually let you stay?
It surprised me too. I told them we knew each other, but I didn't even have to make up a story. They just said they weren't sure what time you'd be back and walked out with their paint cans.
Unbelievable.
So I got the cheese set down to wait. Only I fell asleep.
I'll have a talk with them in the morning. Now it's getting late.
What should I do with this?
Just throw it in the trash.
You wouldn't have any Diet Coke, would you?
Miss Willis, it's very late and I'm rather tired. If you call me tomorrow, perhaps.
Tomorrow? No. Tomorrow is going to be too late. I mean, if I don't get this off my chest now, I never will.
Well, that's a provocative statement. Get what off your chest? Oh, but you wanted a diet soda, didn't you?
Listen, don't bother. A glass of water would be just fine.
Nope, you're in luck. 1 can of Diet Coke. We only buy it for parties.
If I drank the regular stuff, I'd blow up like a balloon.
You seem to have it under control.
Thank you. I've been jogging a lot. It keeps me nice and firm. Do you jog?
No.
That's right. You go to one of those exercise classes. Tummy flattening, isn't it? They're pretty good, but they don't do much for my underarms. I used to work at a gym just as a secretary, but you pick up a lot just being there.
How did you know I went to exercise class?
Arthur told me. That's a really nice color.
Thank you. Now, Miss Willis, if you
Do you
don't
remember
mind.
the old story?
What old story?
You know, the one where if you're pregnant and you smell fresh paint, you'll have a premature baby.
Yes, I've heard it. Are you pregnant?
Me? No! But I was a preemie. 8 months. It's the only time I've ever been early in my life.
Miss Willis, you said you had something to get off your chest. You also mentioned that you're a friend of Arthur's. I assume you're not a client.
No, I can't afford him.
Then suppose you tell me what this is all about.
Well, it's kind of embarrassing, but I think once I get that off my chest, you'll be very interested in what I have to say. I've been dating Arthur for 8 months.
I see.
I guess you could say I'm his mistress. You'll probably want some proof.
That won't be necessary.
No, it's important that you believe me. He left his cigar case at my apartment last week. It's in here somewhere. Isn't that the dumbest thing? I changed bags and it's in my other purse. God, I'm just all screwed up today. I even lost my contact for my, which was it? Yep, my left eye. I was crawling around on the rug all afternoon trying to look for it.
Miss Willis.
He did leave it though. It's from Dunhill's, brown Moroccan leather, and it has his initials on it. A-T-J. The T is for Thomas.
Miss Willis, I accept your credentials, but if it's money you're after or you're doing this out of spite.
No, Mrs. Jameson. It's nothing like that at all. I'm just trying to save your life.
I wasn't aware that my life is in danger.
Well, I can't be 100% sure,
That's comforting.
but there doesn't seem to be any other explanation.
Explanation for what?
Bear with me, okay? Did you, by chance, hire a private detective to follow me and Arthur around?
A detective? Of course not. Why would I?
To help with your divorce. I mean, you could get a bigger settlement if you could prove that he was unfaithful.
Oh, Miss Willis, this may come as a rude awakening, but Arthur has left a trail of Moroccan cigar cases in bedrooms all over town. If I needed proof of his infidelity at this late date, I'd stick a pin in the telephone book.
He said you had a detective following us for months now. He also said that you got a final report last week, and that you put that into a safe deposit box.
Oh, he was lying to you. There's no detective, and there never was.
But you do have a safe deposit box. That part is true.
Yes.
And there's an envelope inside, right?
I'm afraid that's none of your business.
Mrs. Jameson, you have to tell me what's in that envelope.
I don't have to tell you anything.
Don't you understand? He wants me to steal it.
He wants you to what?
I guess I better just show you. Do you have a pen and paper? A ballpoint would be better. They don't use felt tips in banks. Oh, this would be so much easier with my other contact, but this will just have to do. What do you think?
It's very good.
Thank you. Oh, you have such a pretty signature. It's so fun to write.
How did you get a sample of my handwriting?
Arthur, he gave me one of your canceled checks before he went to Texas. He said that by the time he gets back, I'm supposed to be an expert.
It seems you already are.
Oh, I had it down pat the first day. But I'm not going to tell him that. I'll just have to pretend I'm still working on it.
Why?
Because as soon as he knows I can sign your name, he'll take me to get the letter.
Let me see if I understand this. He wants you to go to my bank, as if you're me, and open my safe deposit box. Aren't you afraid you'll be caught?
No. I only have to fool the person who signs me in, and he's probably never even met you. So as long as I can sign your name and I have the key to your deposit
But you
box,
don't have the key.
Arthur will give it to me. He says you keep it under the scarves in your bureau drawer.
Damn him!
He wants to go with me. He says it so I won't be nervous. But I think he's worried I'll run off with it.
Did he tell you why he wanted it?
Well, sure. That's where you're supposed to keep all the stuff from your private detective.
Oh, yes, the little man who wasn't there.
He said that as long as you have the records, you could take him to the cleaners. But as soon as I get him that letter, he can finally leave you, and then he and I can...
You can what?
Well, he promised me that we'd get married.
Congratulations.
I wanted to believe him, but his story just didn't make much sense. I mean, what good would it do if I got him that letter? Any halfway decent private detective agency keeps record in triplicate.
How do you know that?
Oh, I used to work for one, just for a couple of weeks, but they had me make copies of everything.
Miss Willis, I don't quite see what this has to do with my life being in danger. I mean, you're talking about stealing.
No! Mrs. Jameson, I'm talking about murder. I mean, unless I'm wrong. As soon as Arthur gets that letter, he's going to kill you. Do you have any more Diet Coke?
Yes, on the bar. Maybe you are wrong.
I guess it depends on what's in that envelope. But like you said, it's none of my business.
It's a letter to the district attorney.
Isn't that weird? I thought it was something like that.
Last week, I told Arthur I wanted a divorce. I also suggested the terms of a settlement. He was amused, naturally, until he found out how much I knew about the way he runs his business.
What did he say?
Oh, he didn't say anything. He just did this.
Oh my God, he hit you?
He was very apologetic, but I suddenly realized it might be wise to take precautions. So I wrote a letter to the district attorney. Everything I knew, every suspicion. And in the event of my death, be it accident, homicide, or natural causes. They should assume Arthur killed me to keep me quiet.
Wow.
I addressed the envelope to my attorney and rented the safe deposit box. Then I told Arthur,
That was your ace in the hole, huh?
if anything happens to me, the box will automatically be sealed. It has to be opened in the presence of a state official, and he'll either read it or send it to my lawyer.
Only it's not much good if it isn't there.
Well, if he gets it back, I can always write another one.
Then why steal it in the first place? Face it, Mrs. Jameson, there's no reason to get rid of that letter unless he gets rid of you too.
Oh, that doesn't necessarily...
Sure it does. You just said you can always write another letter. He knows that, but he still has me working on your signature. Now why would he go to all that trouble
Unless he knows I won't be around to replace it. I see your point.
The more I thought about it, the more it worried me. That's why I came over here. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have.
No, you did the right thing. I'm very grateful.
At least now you have some time. I mean, he still has to figure out a way to kill you, and that won't be easy. He's the first person they'd suspect.
No, I have complete confidence in him. He'll come up with something.
There is a way to stop him.
Oh?
Well, two. You could tell him that we talked, and I could go to the police. That would throw him a curve.
And the second way?
Well, he can't do anything unless he gets the letter. So you could take it out of your safe deposit box and give it to somebody.
Miss Willis, you're a very intelligent woman.
You just caught me on a good day.
Tomorrow morning, I'll leave the letter with my attorney. Then when Arthur gets back from Houston, what is it, a week from Sunday? I'll tell him about our conversation. Although I hate getting you in trouble for helping me.
That's okay. The thing is, Arthur and me are pretty much finished anyway.
Oh, what do you mean?
He's seeing someone else.
Someone else? In addition to you?
He thinks I don't know, but he's been seeing her for months now.
Well, who is she?
Her name's Gail. She works in an art gallery on 57th Street. She's from Australia.
You're very well informed.
I did some checking, and I followed them a few times. It's pretty serious. Did I say something funny?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's just that Arthur is the only man I know who would cheat on his mistress. But I suppose you don't find that funny.
No. I kind of liked him.
No, they all do. Just out of curiosity, where did you two meet?
At his office. I used to work there.
Well, I thought you worked at a gym. Or was it a detective agency?
I've worked just about everywhere. Didn't I explain? I'm a temp girl. One of his secretaries went out for an operation, so I filled in.
Well, how long were you there?
Oh, just for a couple of weeks. Actually, he wanted me to stay. I type 160 words a minute, and I take terrific dictation. But then he got interested and decided it wouldn't be a good idea to mix business with, fooling around.
He's nothing if not practical. I suppose you had the usual arrangement. An apartment, your own Visa card.
American Express.
Oh.
And it's not much of an apartment, but it's right across the park, so it's
Super convenient.
I didn't mean.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm immune. And I'm reasonably familiar with the mechanics. A few years ago, I met one of his ladies. Correction, ex-ladies.
Really?
Oh, she came over here in tears one night, and we commiserated. By the time she left, I'd learned a great deal about his technique. I suppose he told you I was frigid.
Something like that.
And then he made a speech about the law and how much it means to him and how I frustrated his youthful ambition to become a public defender. Does this sound familiar, or has he changed his approach?
No, that's still the same.
I suppose it's very effective.
Oh, the part about the law is, he said he likes it to help the poor. And I really admired him for that. At least for a little while. Then I remembered his files. I happened to look them over.
Is that standard procedure for temporary help?
I'm very thorough. Anyway, all his clients seem to have a lot of money.
So much for the poor and disenfranchised. Arthur doesn't even answer the phone unless there's a 6-figure retainer.
You know, I don't even think he likes the law that much. I mean, he always wins. And I guess if you can beat something all the time, you stop respecting it.
You know him very well.
It's funny. When I came over here, do you know what I was thinking?
What?
No, this is silly.
Oh, tell me.
Well, it would be better for everybody if he was dead.
Well, that goes without saying. Unfortunately, he's in perfect health.
No, I mean it.
I believe you do.
Well, you'd sure be better off.
Why would I?
Arthur's gonna go through the roof when you tell him about the letter. You've backed him into a corner.
That's his problem, isn't it?
Yes, but if I know him, and you just said that I do, he'll figure out a way to solve it. Like I said, this is silly.
No. Go on.
Well, okay, another thing. When you get your divorce, how long will it take for the settlement to go through?
Oh, quite a while, probably. Why?
Thing is, all that stuff you have on him might not be worth much in 6 months or a year.
Well, why wouldn't it be? It's not perishable.
No, but if you could dig it up, so could the state bar or a couple of jealous lawyers.
Well, that's not very likely.
But it is possible. Face it, one of these days he's gonna make a mistake. And if anybody else finds out where the bodies are buried, you've got nothing to bargain with.
I'll just have to take that chance.
Be a lot simpler if you were dead, though. And the best part is the money! Oh my god, you'd get everything! Plus the insurance? What, it's a $500,000 policy?
How did you know that?
Must have come across it in his files.
Miss Willis, I'm not sure what you're
Am I
suggesting.
suggesting something?
But the fact is that Arthur is very much alive. And if he does die, he'd better do it right here at home with a doctor by the bedside.
Why?
Because, as you've so carefully pointed out, I have the most to gain by his death.
I guess you'd need an alibi.
At the very least.
Suppose I could give you one. An alibi, I mean. And suppose I could tell you how to do it.
Do what?
What we're talking about? Kill Arthur!
Miss Willis.
Not that we actually go through with it or anything. This is all just kind of a game, isn't it? But I did come up with the way while I was taking a bath. Arthur always laughs at my bathtub ideas. He doesn't think I'm very bright.
I have a feeling that's where he made his first mistake.
Anyway, like I said, this is silly. But just remember to get that letter to your lawyer and you should be safe. Well, it's getting late.
Miss Willis, what would you get out of it?
Pardon?
You said you could tell me a way to arrange things. I assume you'd want something in return.
You mean besides satisfaction?
Besides satisfaction.
Same as you, I guess. Money.
How much money?
Oh, we could work something out. You'd have so much you wouldn't even know it was missing.
Just for the sake of argument, you understand this is all
Oh,
hypothetical.
sure.
How could I possibly pay you? I mean, I couldn't very well write a check and if I withdrew a large amount of
Don't
cash.
even worry about it. I can tell you at least 5 ways to launder money. Most people don't know how easy it is.
But you do.
I used to work at a bank.
Well, this has been very interesting. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you. It's been so nice finally meeting you. Before I forget, here is my number. In case you want to contact me or anything.
phone rang.
Oh, yeah.
It's on silent.
Oh, there it goes. You just had to hit the right button.
I guess I did. Hello? Hello? Arthur!
I really love the new color, by the way. Bye.
No, just sitting here, reading. This isn't a very good connection. Where are you, at the hotel? I'm fine. Still swollen, but it's going down. Yes, I got the flowers. And the perfume, yes. Oh, yes. Roses. Am I in a forgiving frame of mind? I don't think that's something we should discuss long distance. Is there someone else in the room with you? Well, I thought I heard another voice. I see. A bit late in the day for maid service, isn't it? No, I'm not being sarcastic. Arthur, I don't mean to cut you off, but I am exhausted. Why don't you call me tomorrow morning? You love me? No, it's just a peculiar thing to say under the circumstances. Of course I believe you. Why wouldn't I? Talk to you tomorrow. Bastard!
Hi, this is Jackie. Oh, should I say my whole name? Well, they know who they're calling. All right. Hi, this is Jackie Willis. Oh, this sounds so strange to say. Oh, damn, is this thing even on? The green light's supposed to be, but it's not. Look. Oh, there it is. Wait, is it supposed to be red? Oh, what the hell? Let's just give it a shot. Hi, this is Jackie Willis. Well, no, it's not really me. I mean, it is, but I hate this machine as much as you probably do, but it's the easiest way to get in touch because, don't have a cell phone. Hate those things even more. Anyway, I'm not home right now, obviously. Well, actually, I am home right now because I'm recording this, but I won't be when you hear it. So, this is too long. I should redo it. Okay. So, leave your name and number, and I'll touch base with you as soon as I can. Just wait till you hear the beep and let loose. Beep! Okay, here comes the real beep, and have a nice day.
Miss Willis, this is Louise Jameson. When you get a moment, please call me. I think it might be a good idea for us to have another talk.
What are you doing?
Sit down, Arthur.
Give me that. Be very careful. When a gun is cocked, it can fire by accident. If I stay over here, will you put it down?
No!
Well, then lower the muzzle, or at least aim it to the side.
Are you giving me instructions?
I'm trying to avoid any miscalculations. You've never touched a gun in your life.
I've been practicing.
Oh?
It would be simpler for both of us if you'd sit down.
You're nervous.
Obviously.
The question is, would you pull the trigger if I walked over there?
Yes.
Then I suppose I should sit. Better?
Much better.
Good. Now at some point I'd like to know what the hell is going on here.
Have you found a way yet?
A way?
To kill me? Or is it still on the drawing board?
Is that what this is all about, a misplaced notion of self-defense?
Why don't you drink your coffee and we'll discuss it?
Why on earth would I want to kill you?
Where shall we start?
You have your faults, but paranoia was never one of them. Maybe you should let me recommend a good psychiatrist.
It's getting cold.
Sweet, extra sugar, hiding the taste of what?
Now who's being paranoid?
Can't be poison. You don't poison a man if you're going to shoot him. What is it, Louise? Half a bottle of your sleeping pills?
I put too much sugar in. Go ahead, drink it.
Sorry.
Arthur, I'm warning you!
Louise, damn it, be careful with that.
What happened?
Jackie?
He was gonna leave. I had to keep him here.
What the hell is this? You two know each other?
Oh, we've accomplished something. He's surprised. Oh, why shouldn't we know each other, Arthur? We have a great deal in common.
Jackie, What's this all about? Why are you here?
Don't badger her, Arthur. This isn't a cross-examination.
How much did you tell her?
Well, pretty much everything, I guess.
And all very interesting.
Only if you
Still
believe.
think I need a psychiatrist.
No, only if you believe her. Miss Willis has a few problems with the truth. I'm sure she told you an elaborate invention about candlelight dinners and safety deposit
Arthur,
boxes.
stop it. It won't work.
No, I suppose not. Well, I had to try, though. Why did you talk to her? I thought you were reasonably content with the status quo.
Oh, I was. Except you forgot to tell me about the woman from Australia.
Oh, so you know about that.
Uh-huh.
Can't seem to keep any secrets, can you?
I'll have to be more careful in the future. All right, let's see what we have here. Wife, mistress, and loaded gun. Not to mention a loaded cup of coffee. You came here and left. That's part of it. You didn't want me to go out. I'm supposed to drink the coffee and fall asleep. You came back and... My God. You two are actually planning to kill me. This is absolutely incredible. I fly home from a business trip, and the women in my life are waiting to put me away. It boggles the mind.
Do you really think it's wise to laugh at someone with a gun?
Why should I? We both know you're not going to use it. Your Honor, there was the husband, shot through the heart and stone cold dead on the living room floor. His wife, an incidentally sole beneficiary, insisted she was elsewhere at the time. Unfortunately, when the police subjected her to a standard neutron activation test, they found clear traces of barium and antimony on her right hand, proving conclusively that she had just fired a weapon.
There's a pair of rubber gloves in the kitchen.
Under the sink near the liquid detergent. Until you're wearing that glove, wouldn't you say you're vulnerable?
Arthur, I am perfectly prepared to shoot you if necessary. And I'll take my chances with the police. Is that clear?
Very clear. May the condemned man have a drink?
Go ahead, but be careful.
Something for you?
No.
Oh, what's this? I see we're buying diet soda now. Very observant of me. I should have made the connection. How often has Jackie been here?
What difference does it make?
I was just wondering if the two of you have spent enough time together to come up with something foolproof. I wouldn't want you to make any mistakes.
We won't.
I don't mean to be negative, but murdering your spouse has its difficulties. Take my word for it. Oh, welcome back. We were just talking about perfect crimes.
I haven't told him anything.
No, she's been very discreet, although I really don't see the point in keeping the victim in the dark, unless you're afraid I'm going to poke a few holes in your game plan.
Don't flatter yourself.
Nothing overlooked, no loose ends or discrepancies. Classic mistake of the amateur is overconfidence.
We know what we're doing.
Then share it with me. People pay good money for my advice. Why not take advantage of it?
Oh, why don't we tell him? I mean, why shouldn't we? We don't have anything to lose.
Listen to her, Louise. She's making sense. Indulge me for a few minutes. If I don't make it worth your while, I promise I'll drink your coffee and even ask for a refill. Well, is it a deal?
As usual, you're trying to manipulate me, but as Jackie says, we don't have anything to lose.
First things first. How am I supposed to die?
Oh, you're gonna take your own life.
Suicide. Interesting. An overdose of barbiturates?
No.
Well, that's a relief, and it wouldn't help your case. Men prefer carbon monoxide or, oh, I see, I'm gonna shoot myself. And why would I do that?
Because you can't face the end of your career.
I thought it was in full flower.
Oh, it was. Until your mistress came over here today.
Ah, yes, Jackie's visit. The lost key and the suffering plants. You were expecting her, of course.
Of course.
I assume there's a reason for your comings and goings?
Well, sure. I had to be seen
Seen?
by the cab drivers. My story's gonna be that when I found out about your new woman, I was really upset. I was brooding about it all day, and that's when I decided to get even.
Go on, this is fascinating.
So I took a cab over here, kind of struck up a conversation with the cab driver. I told him I was gonna tell you off in front of your wife. He thought it was so funny. When he dropped me off at the front door, he told me to give you hell.
You're only here 10 minutes. The police will want to know what happened.
Oh, and we're perfectly prepared to tell them. There was a confrontation. Miss Willis informed me that the two of you had been having an affair. Naturally, I was shocked.
Naturally.
I had no idea you'd been unfaithful to me. I'm afraid I got hysterical. We started shouting at each other and Miss Willis just ran out.
Oh, I got another cab to go home. I was crying. So the cab driver should remember me. And there's a record of pickups and drop-offs.
She used to work for a cab company.
After our argument, is that when I shoot myself?
Not quite. If I'm here, I don't have an alibi.
So you walked out on me.
I wandered around for a bit. Then I realized I was in Miss Willis's neighborhood. On an impulse, I went up to her apartment.
Where she welcomed you with open arms, and the two of you sat around over coffee and talked about how worthless I am. But that doesn't explain why I put a gun to my head.
Oh, I called you. Just about now. I said we were finished.
More a cause for celebration than suicide.
And I also told you that tomorrow morning I would be going to the district attorney and I would put myself completely at his disposal.
And that, I suppose, pushed me over the edge.
I think the police will accept a man killing himself to avoid disbarment and criminal prosecution.
People will wonder where you were when the fatal shot was fired.
I was with Jackie. We were together until late tonight.
You could have killed me before you went to her apartment.
But I didn't. She'll swear she heard me talking to you on the phone. You were very much alive. You were pleading and your voice was quite loud.
I hope you're being well paid, Jackie. Conspiracy, making false statements to the police, accessory to murder. What's the going rate these days?
Oh, it's enough.
But how do you know you'll get your money? Once I'm dead and Louise has it all, she might not want to spread it around. And you can't go to the police or you'll incriminate yourself.
Oh, no. I trust her.
A sisterhood. How very touching. Well, the police will wonder where you were.
Well, Jackie's the one that came up with the plan.
Oh, really? I never knew you had such a lethal imagination.
All right, we're wasting time.
On the contrary, it's been time well spent. Because as your attorney, it's my duty to recommend that you cut your losses and settle out of court. If this case ever came to trial, I don't even think I can get you off.
It won't come to
Oh,
trial.
but it will, and it may be the shortest session in the history of New York judicial proceedings. Why, halfway professional prosecutor would tear you apart in 5 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
Sit down.
What?
Sit down! If you want to see the epic nature of your miscalculations, you'll do as I say. Now listen very carefully, and keep that pointed away from my midsection, because the more you hear, the less likely you'll be to shoot. You're in a courtroom at 100 Center Street. It's day one of the trial. We've heard Miss Willis's testimony, now you're on the stand.
This is the most absurd thing I've
No. Let him go on. Maybe we'll learn something.
Jackie, if I'd seen this side of your character, I might not have traded you in. Now, Mrs. Jameson, I'll ask you to cast your mind back to the Sunday of your husband's suicide, and remember, you're under oath. You've testified that you were distressed to hear of his affair with Miss Willis. Your Honor, the witness is not responsive.
All right. Yes, I was. Is that what you want?
Darling, you're not playing the game. What I want is not the issue. This is a court of law, and we're here in the service of truth, although it may be the last place to find it. Were you or were you not upset by the news of your husband's infidelity?
I was.
And that's why you threatened him with reprisals?
Yes.
But we've heard testimony from several of your close friends that you knew of his philandering for years. Why did Miss Willis come as such a surprise to you?
It's not that it was such a surprise, but I guess after all the others, she was the last straw.
Good.
Would you say that your late husband, in addition to his sordid sexual activities, was also an egotist?
Definitely.
full of himself, eager to share his misguided sense of his own importance with the world?
Absolutely.
Then why didn't he leave a note?
A note?
A suicide note. Surely you're not asking the jury to believe that a man who wrote monographs for law journals and articles for the public press would silently snuff out his candle without at least a brief message for posterity. Egotists are notorious for self-justification, even posthumously.
No, you get an objection there. My lawyer would object.
Of course he would, and my remarks would be struck from the record, but not from the minds of the jury. Now, Mrs. Jameson, when you called your husband and made your threats, did he know where you were?
Yes, I told him I was at Miss Willis's apartment.
Why didn't he call you back?
He may have. I took the phone off the hook.
So the poor man, unable to reach you and exercise his famous powers of persuasion, blew his brains out. Well, that's quite a rush to oblivion. I wonder if the jury would accept his incredible hurry to put a gun to his head. Now, Mrs. Jameson, when you left your husband, and if I can remember that you went to her apartment, is that an accurate statement?
Well, I already told you I was hysterical. I had to get out of there.
So you went to her apartment, and if I'm quoting you correctly, on an impulse, you stayed there. Is that correct?
Yes.
How did you know her address?
What?
It's a simple question, Mrs. Jameson. How did you know where she lived? Presumably you'd never met her before.
She left her purse behind. I was curious about her, so I looked through her wallet, and that's where I saw her address.
On her driver's license?
Yeah,
No.
Jackie's about to tell you she doesn't drive.
Then it wasn't her license. She had a credit card.
Major credit cards don't carry home addresses.
Department store cards, they do.
No coaching from the sidelines. Miss Willis has testified that she took a taxi back to her apartment. Her statement's been corroborated by the driver.
Then I'm sure it's true.
Tell me something. How did she pay for the cab?
With money.
Well, now unless she carries money in her broken sandal, how did she pay for the taxi? And she left her purse behind, so how did she get into her apartment if her key was in it?
Maybe I didn't see it in her purse. The phone book.
Looking up numbers in the midst of your hysteria? I suggest you didn't see her address at all. I suggested that you knew it to begin with.
No!
I further suggest that the two of you murdered your husband and then went back to her apartment on foot.
My husband wasn't murdered. He committed suicide.
Because of your phone call?
Yes, because of my phone call.
That's impossible. How could he take a call if he wasn't home?
He was home.
We shall introduce testimony from a Miss Gail Stafford, lovely young woman from down under, who has said that your husband telephoned her said he was picking her up and taking her to dinner. Why didn't he? Why did he conveniently wait for you to amble across town and visit Miss Willis?
You're lying.
Call the Japanese Gardens. You'll see that I have reservations for 2 at 7:30. At this very moment, Miss Stafford is pacing her carpet, wondering where I am. They're a hungry breed, the Australians. She's probably starving to death.
What should we do? Should we call the restaurant back?
Is the witness dismissing herself? I didn't say. Don't squabble, ladies.
You told me this would work.
Don't
How was I supposed
squabble,
to know?
ladies. Be grateful about that. It saved your skins.
What do you mean?
Kept me from drinking your cup of Nembatol. Didn't you know there'd be an autopsy?
Not unless the wife requests it.
Wrong. Autopsies were performed at the discretion of the medical examiner. Given my notoriety and the interest of the press, he'd cut me open as soon as he got his hands on me. And he'd be confused. Why would a suicide take sleeping pills before he shoots himself?
I guess we blew it.
I guess you did.
Oh, those damn sleeping pills.
Oh, don't be too hard on yourself. You needed them. I had to be unconscious so the two of you could fit the gun in my hand and press it against my head. But I'm sure you can see that it's useless now, so you can put that down.
Don't you come any closer to me.
Or what? You gonna shoot me? Strange suicide of a man who fires a gun at himself from
If you
3 feet
take
away.
one
Put
more
it down,
step.
Louise! Damn it, you're not thinking. Now give me that thing!
No!
Friend of yours? Or maybe it's Miss Stafford. Ah, I told her never to call me at home, but when you stand them up, they get aggressive.
Don't answer it!
Put down the gun, quid pro quo.
Arthur!
Fire away and explain how I shot myself in the
Mrs.
back.
Jameson, just do what he says.
We'll never know, will we?
Well, what happens now?
I keep my dinner date, and since the two of you won't be needing each other any longer, I suggest you part company.
Well, this may not have worked, but at least you haven't lost anything.
Correction, she's lost everything. Tomorrow you'll bring that letter home from your safety deposit box. You bring it home, and I'll watch you burn it.
Why would I do a foolish thing like that?
For the same reason you'll be flexible about a divorce. You'll have your freedom with my blessings, but don't expect any fringe benefits.
Get out of here, Arthur. Leave me alone.
Jackie, take a look at that tape recorder.
What?
Look at it closely. Tell my wife what you see.
It's on! He's been recording us this whole time! How do you turn this thing
A
off?
little late, aren't you? We've been speaking loudly and the microphone's built in, so I'm sure it picked up everything. Exhibit A, Your Honor. Clear evidence of attempted murder, 15 years to life. I'd say that cancels out your leverage. If you get the urge to go to the district attorney, I can always play him your theme and variations on killing a husband.
None of that is admissible in court.
Learn your law, darling. A recording is admissible as long as one party to the conversation knows it's being made, in this case, me.
I will not stand for this!
I'm afraid you'll have to. Well, I'm late. If you'll both excuse me.
Arthur! I want that tape.
Stop posturing. You can't afford to shoot and you know it.
Give it to me.
I've got just about enough of you. Now put that damn thing away.
Come near me.
And don't threaten unless you have the cards.
You killed her?
It was an accident.
Is she dead?
Quiet, quiet. Let me think. All right. I'm going to call the police. But first, I want to go over our story.
What story?
Do you want a drink? You should have something to settle you down.
I don't want to drink. What story?
The trick is to keep it as close to the truth as possible. You were angry because I jilted you. You came over here to embarrass me in front of my wife. She and I had a violent argument. She got the gun, threatened me, and when I tried to take it away, it went off. It was an accident. You saw the whole thing.
Arthur, I don't want to talk to the police. I just want to go home.
Don't be ridiculous. I need you. I can't make a case for self-defense unless I have a witness.
You need to witness. Just play them the tape.
The tape is useless.
What?
Nothing on this but surface noise, hardly admissible evidence.
No, but the machine was running.
But not recording. The microphone's broken and never got around to getting it fixed.
You were bluffing?
Of course I was bluffing. That's how I earn my living. I'm gonna have to do a hell of a lot more than the next half hour. I'm gonna call the police.
Arthur, I'm not going to be here when they come.
Haven't you been listening? I said I needed you.
I can't. I'm sorry.
How much?
Excuse me?
The whole package, including sworn testimony.
Oh, no. It is not that simple.
Jackie, as of now, you're out in the cold. All this planning and nothing to show for it. I'll give you whatever Louise is paying. You and I might even take up where we left off.
I can't. I'm sorry.
I don't want to hear that you're sorry. I want to hear that you'll help me.
How? How am I supposed to help you if I'm at my apartment?
Huh?
The cab driver knows I left here over an hour ago.
Well, that's a problem, but it's minor. We can find a way to get around that.
Oh, and how are you gonna get around your wife's letter? I mean, as soon as someone dies, they're supposed to open the safe deposit box, right? That's the law.
Yes, but...
And as soon as they read that letter, you're in so much trouble. What did she say? Oh, yes. If anything happens to her, no matter what it is, they're supposed me in a million years. I'm your mistress.
Got to try.
I just can't take that chance. I mean, a guy shoots his wife and his girlfriend says it's an accident? I'd be lucky if they don't go after me for perjury.
Will you listen?
I can't. I'm sorry. Look, you're a smart guy. You'll figure something out.
I'll implicate you. I'll tell them you wanted to kill me.
And I'll tell them you're lying. Goodbye.
Jackie.
You know, it's funny. If I could help you, I wonder if I would.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there can be no reasonable doubt that Arthur Jameson did willfully, deliberately, and with premeditation murder his wife in cold blood.
They won't go for it. You haven't got a case.
We have shown that Louise Jameson was in possession of information that was detrimental to her husband's career. We have also shown that on the afternoon of her death, she was confronted by his mistress, who was the catalyst for a violent argument. After Miss Willis left the scene, the deceased, hurt and lashing out in anger, threatened to expose her husband to the authorities. And realizing that his very survival was at stake. And with full malice, ladies and gentlemen, he shot and killed her.
It was an accident.
Oh, we've heard the defendant allege that the shooting was an accident. The result of an elaborate murder plot with himself as the intended victim. Oh, but as reasonable men and women, I'm sure you'll recognize this story for what it is. It's the desperate fabrication of a guilty man.
The police found sleeping pills in my coffee.
Put there by himself to substantiate his case.
Why would I kill my wife if I knew she had incriminating evidence in her safe
We
deposit
only
box?
have his word that she did know.
She would have told me it was her protection.
She rented the box the day before he went to Texas. And he killed her the day he got home. She never had a chance.
It was self-defense. I have a witness.
Oh, a witness? What witness, sir? She's denied it under oath. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a phrase in Latin, res ipsa loquitur. The thing speaks for itself. And in this case, we have a wife who in writing says that her husband wants her dead. And then suddenly, she's dead. At the hands of the very man she accuses. Now, if you had no other evidence, and you do, this fact alone, not only, speaks for itself. It's devastating. Now, let me conclude by acknowledging that the law is, well, it's far from perfect. And those who practice it, well, they're also flawed. And for better or for worse, it is you who are the final arbiters of truth. And in this case, there can be no doubt, after your deliberations, your careful consideration of the evidence presented here today, no doubt that you will return with a verdict of,
Guilty of murder in the first degree.
so say you all.
So say we all.
The defendant is remanded to the Department of Corrections.
Sentencing to be scheduled at a later date.
Court is adjourned.
It would probably serve me right. Not that either one of them would seriously consider murdering me, although God knows what they'd do if they ever met each other. Or if they knew about Gail.
Arthur, is that you?
In the living room.
I wasn't expecting you for another hour.
Oh, the plane was early. Oh, you look marvelous. You haven't cut your hair.
Of course not. Why would I?
I see that's healing nicely.
Yes.
I can't tell you how sorry I am about that. Really, it's all I could think about while I was away. Would you like a drink?
Not right now. Let me just put these in the kitchen.
Actually, suicide's not a bad idea. Your Honor, my wife was depressed over our marital difficulties. The day I got back from a business trip, the poor woman had taken a gun from our bedroom drawer. Not bad at all. Certainly worth exploring. It has possibilities. Louise, I'm going upstairs to unpack.
Miss Willis, it's done. I know we're ahead of schedule, but his plane got in early. No, everything's fine. You know, it's strange. I thought it would be much more difficult. I'll finish up here and I'll be right over. Just remember, I've been with you for the past 2 hours.